Welcome friends to my YouTube channel Cyber iLab. So in this video I will explain you guys last three layers because all those top layers I already discussed with the part 1 and part 2 of OSI reference model. So this is the part 3, and in part 3 I will cover network layer, data link layer and physical layer. So let's start with the network layer. So network layer is a layer 3 of OSI reference model. Alright, so I need my pen so that I can explain you guys. Right. Sorry about this. Alright, so network layer. Network layer is the layer 3 layer of OSI reference model. And in network layer, what are the functionality we perform at network layer is first providing logical addresses. Logical address. Let's suppose if you are assigning an IP address to any router or switch or firewall or PC, laptop, whatever the networking component it is. If you are dealing with an IP address, because logical address is nothing, it is IP address. So if you are dealing with an IP address, it means that you are working at network layer. So if you are removing or creating or deleting or modification in IP addresses, in that case we can say you are working at network layer because this layer is responsible for assigning IP addresses. Alright. Now, second, if you are communicating between networks, okay, if your packet are moving from one network to other network, in that case we need a routing. We need to route the packet. We need to route the packet. In that case we need a routing. So routing also occurs at network layer. And for routing we need a best route. We need a best route. It's not like that any route. Okay, so let's suppose multiple routes are there. We need to first select with the help of different types of routing protocols and algos behind the picture. So we need to calculate the best route. So we say that selection of best route. Selection of best route also occurs at network layer. Alright, so these are the three functionality which occurs at network layer. Now about the protocols, which is very important. Okay, because I will clear one concept over here related to protocols, so which is very important. So protocols which works at network layer is IP, IPX and AppleTalk. Okay, IP, IPX and AppleTalk. So IP protocol, mostly you will find this protocol in Asia Pacific region. IPX protocol, most of the region covered by IPX is European region. Alright, and AppleTalk, most of like North American or American region we can say. So these are the routed protocols. Mark my words, routed protocols. These are the routed protocols. And later on in CCNA, you will heard about routing protocols. So I want to explain you guys the difference because this is the right time to explain you guys about the differences between routed protocol and routing protocol. First thing, that is routing protocol works for routed protocol. Routing protocol works for routed protocol. Okay, works for routed protocol. So there are many routing protocols like RIP, OSPF, EIGRP, BGP, ISIS. So these are the routing protocols. The role of routing protocol is, and the responsibility of routing protocol is to route the packet, from one network to other network. So if inter-network communication is happening, it is only possible with the help of routing protocol. And routing protocols works for routing protocol. Why we are saying this line that routing protocol works for routing protocol? Because there are two traffic. You need to understand the traffic types. As per net traffic engineering, there are two types of traffic. One is data plane traffic. data plane traffic and other is control plane traffic. Okay, this control plane traffic also known as management traffic. Management traffic. Okay, and this data plane traffic also known as end user traffic. End user traffic. All right, so end user traffic example, let's suppose any user forwarding an email, or if you are forwarding some files, or if you are downloading something, whatever end user send and receive, that is end user traffic, and that traffic moves on data plane. If we talk about management traffic is network management traffic. So let's suppose if you are accessing a router, you are managing or you are doing something on router or any networking component. If you are dealing with any networking component, you are putting some command, you are removing or adding some policy. That is all about control plane. So that control plane traffic is related to network management traffic. Now, your routing protocol works on control plane and your routed protocol works on data plane. This is the reason why we say this network is IP based communication. Okay, if we want to communicate on network, we need an IP. See, IP is routed protocol. Routed protocol carries data plane traffic, and data plane traffic basically it's an end user traffic. So let's suppose this is your email. This email will be embedded into your IP header, and this IP header will be encapsulated by a routing protocol, whatever the routing protocol you guys are using. Let's suppose if you are using OSPF, then this IP header will be encapsulated by OSPF, and then this routing protocol moves on control plane and carries your traffic, carries your this end user traffic from one network to other network. Please guys understand this concept because this is very important. I saw many people doesn't know like where actually this network management traffic move, where exactly this your routing protocol works and your IP protocol works. Okay, you need to understand this difference. This is the very important point regarding this routed protocol and routing protocol. Alright guys, so these are the protocols which works at network layer. And third thing about devices which works at network layer are router, firewall and layer 3 switches. Okay, they are switches, higher end switches or enterprise level switches. We call it layer 3 switches, which works at layer 2 as well as layer 3. I will explain this in switching part and switching section also. So never mind about this if you don't know about layer 3 switches, but I can say like layer 3 switches, router and for firewall, all these devices works at layer 3, or you can say network layer. So this is all about network layer. Now we will move to data link layer. Data link layer is a layer to layer which is responsible first for the selection of media type. Media type is like your media. The media type is it Ethernet, fast Ethernet, Giga Ethernet or Tera Ethernet. So selection of this media type occurs at your data link layer. Alright. Second important point, switching of frames. Switching of frames. Switching of frames works at layer 2. So you can say intranet communication within a network. If you are moving within a network, we can say we are switching our frames. If we are switching our frames, it means that we are working at layer 2, that is data link layer. Alright, now third, it provides physical addresses. It provides physical address. Physical address, or you can say MAC address, you can say burnt-in address, okay, or other word is hardware address. All the keywords are same. Either you say MAC address, physical address, burnt-in address, or hardware address. All these keywords are same. Don't get confused. Never get confused related to these keywords. Okay. So let's suppose if you are dealing with a MAC address, it means that you are dealing at network data link layer. Okay. So I just want to explain you guys about MAC address over here. Brief introduction, okay, about MAC address. MAC address is of 48 bit, okay, and 48 bit, and we use hexadecimal to define any MAC address. So let's take an example 0001A. I'm assuming that you are fully aware about hexadecimal. Hexadecimal, like you are using decimal format and you are using also A to F. A is equal to 10, B equals to 11, C equals to 12, D equals to 13, E equals to 14, and F equals to 15. It's like that. Okay, so it uses hexadecimal format. So let's suppose I am taking an example 0001, 00AB, 00 0CAD, whatever you want to use. Okay, so if you check, this is 48 bit. Okay, so there are 12 characters. If you check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 characters. Each character is of 4 bit. Okay, each character is of 4 bit, or you can say 1 nibble, because 1 nibble is equal to 4 bit. So 4 bit, 12 4 is 48. So your hexadecimal is of 48 bit, or you can say 6 byte. All things are same. 6 byte, because 1 byte equals to 8 bits, or you can say 48 bits. Now, out of this 12 character, first 6 character is responsible for your OUI. OUI, that is Organizational Unique Identifier. It means that first 6 characters is responsible for vendor. Which vendor device is this is. Okay, so let's suppose if I use a MAC address of this PC, okay, and if I want to check this PC MAC address belongs to which vendor, so I copied this MAC address of this laptop, and there is website on a Google, you can look out and copy paste over there, and you can easily find out that the vendor of this PC, on the basis of MAC address, that is Intel. So first six characters, that means 24 bits. First 24 bits belongs to vendor, and rest of 24 bits belongs to the series of device or the number of device, whatever the number, that can be decided by vendor only. So if it is the first switch of a Cisco, then vendor will be Cisco and switch number will be 0000000001. So it is like this. So first six characters belongs to your vendor. And I just want to highlight one more thing. These first 6 characters, these vendors got it from IDA. IDA is responsible for giving this first 6 characters of that MAC address to the vendors, who are the manufacturers of those networking component, whatever the networking component you are manufacturing, or even let's suppose motherboard or processor of your laptop. Okay, because each laptop has its own MAC address. So vendor got the first 6 characters from IDA, and rest of the 6 characters decided by vendor. Remember this point. All right. Now, next thing, it provides physical address, switching of frames, and media type. This is all about your data link layer, functionality wise. Protocols which works at layer 2, that is R, okay, you can say the R, STP, VTP, okay. So there's a long list of protocols which works at layer 2. So you can look out on Google or check. There are a lot of protocols which works at layer 2. So ARP, STP and VTP, they are very common, and you can say very famous protocols which works at data link layer. And technologies which works at layer 2, we can say WAN technology, we call it WAN technology, which works at layer 2 are X.25, ATM, frame relay is obsolete technology, so I am not highlighting this, but previously it was there. So frame relay was one of the technologies which works at layer 2. So nowadays ATM and X.25. So these are the protocols, these are the technologies and devices which works at your data link layer are switch, bridge, and NIC. In most of the interviews, interviewer gonna ask you like NIC works at which layer. So never mind, you can say that works at layer 2 because each NIC has its own MAC address, and if you are dealing with the MAC address, it is all about data link layer. So this is all about your data link layer. Now we can move to last one, the final one, that is physical layer. Physical layer is responsible for first all the hardware components, all the physicality of your network infrastructure. Okay, whatever is there in your data center, switch, router, fiber optic, or the switches, or like load balancer, whatever the networking components are there in your data center, it's all about hardware. It's all about your physicality of your infra, that is physical layer. And the second most important thing which is for this physical layer is responsible, and uh, which is very important functionality of physical layer, that is encoding and decoding of signaling. Okay, because if you see from layer 7 to layer 1, after this, if you see this from with respect to the source, okay, from source your OSI layer works from top to down. I will explain you guys, be there in video, because in last I will explain you end-to-end communication data delivery, so which is very important to understand. So for source it works from top to down and destination down to up. So after network layer you need to decide that on the basis of media. Okay, so let's suppose in media if you are using current. Okay, so on the basis of current, let's suppose plus 1.24 volt convert it into 1, minus 1.24 volt convert it into 0, because finally we need to convert it into bits. Remember those PDUs on physical layer, that is bits. Okay, so your frames will be converted into bits. So bits will be converted on the basis of media, whatever the media you are using. If you are using current, this is 1.24 volt 1 minus 1.24 volt is 0. Let's suppose if you are using fiber optic use the light total refraction mechanism. So if light travels 1, if light doesn't travel it is 0. If it is your media is wireless, so wireless works on the frequencies. If your frequency is high, it is 1. If your frequency is low, that's 0. So it is on the basis of a media, and the media, on the basis of media, it will decide those signaling and encode those signal into bits, because finally we need to convert your data into bits, because that is our machine level language. So finally these bits will be forwarded to your other ad, and this ad will again convert those bits into frame to packet to segment to data, and finally reaches to the user. So this is the hierarchy. Okay, I will explain you an end-to-end delivery. So this is all about physical layer, no protocols out there, but if you see the device which works at layer first, this layer 1, that is hub. Okay, now OSI layer is done. Last topic for OSI reference model is end-to-end communication. Either you say end-to-end communication, or you say encapsulation and de-encapsulation process. Encapsulation and de-encapsulation process. I will explain this with the help of one slide so that you can understand this very easily, because that slide is itself very self-explanatory. So give me a second for that. I will open that slide for you guys. So check this out. Okay. Alright. So this is your sorry guys for the delay, but it is important, that's the reason I'm taking time. Okay, now here if you see end-to-end communication is happening. Alright, so I already discussed with you guys this, either you say end-to-end communication or say encapsulation and de-encapsulation mechanism. Encapsulation and de-encapsulation mechanism. Why I am using this word encapsulation and de-encapsulation? Remember those PDUs. Okay, so PDUs is protocol datagram unit. So we are fully aware at transport layer we call it segment. Okay, sorry, segment. At network layer we call it packet. At data link layer we call it frame, and physical finally into bits. See this. So if you check, first this is, let's suppose this is source or sender and this is a receiver. So if you are forwarding some data, the top three layer we call it data. As this data reaches to transport layer, this segment header will be added to this data. Will be added to this data. Alright. Now as it reaches to network layer, packet header will be added. Segment header will be behind this packet header and data. Alright. Then frame header, and this is packet header, then segment header, and then data, and finally frame tailor. This is a single layer which adds its own tailor, and use of tailor is to provide integrity. Remember, I will explain later in headers class, but for now we can say it provides integrity. Okay, so frame header, frame packet header, segment header. So this is the encapsulation. So at source side, you are encapsulating your data with these information: segment, packet, and frame header. Why? Because or in networking, if you are communicating from one network to other network, if your layer 2, layer 3 and layer 4 information is pending, if your layer 2, layer 3 and layer 4 information is pending, you are not able to communicate between networks. There is no possibility so that you can packet, so that you can forward your packet from one network to other network. Why? Because at layer 2 MAC address is required, at layer 3 IP address is required, at layer 4 port number is required. So we need source MAC and destination MAC, we need source IP and destination IP, and we need source port and destination port for this communication. If anything missing, we will work on that. Okay, within this OSI reference model, we work on that and we will discuss later in the classes, like in R class and IP header class. But for right now, you can say that at source side, we are encapsulation is going on of all these headers, and in this header, nothing else. In this header, there is the information about, let's suppose if you talk about segment header, in segment header, source port and destination port. In packet header, source IP and destination IP is there. In frame header, source MAC and destination MAC is there. So as it reaches to physical layer converts them into bits, bits reaches to this physical layer, and again de-encapsulation occurs. So this is how end-to-end communication happens. Okay, so this is how your end-to-end communication happens. So this is all about your OSI reference model. So please like, share and subscribe this video as well as my channel. If you think that these videos are very informational for guys who is pursuing the career in networking field. So thank you very much for listening this video. Bye bye. Take care.